Hi everybody, welcome back. This is Bali Kehel, and today we're going to be talking about Path Analyzer Pro. First of all, Path Analyzer Pro, let me give you a little bit of information about this tool itself. Path Analyzer Pro, also referred to as Analyzer Pro, is used for analyzing and reporting of your ICP-MP, which is layer 3 of your OSI model, and also sometimes it is used for analyzing TCP/IP elements, which is basically OSI model. It is layer 4, and its main purpose is basically to view and analyze your trace routes and things of that sort by looking at the data packets which are over the network, and also the traffic performance on a network. So that is some of the key things which you need to know about this tool before we start diving into it. And I'll show particular things about the tool, how to install it, how to use it, and what are the key aspects of it which you need to look at when you're trying to analyze it. All right. First thing is, as I already have it up here, Google, click on Path Analyzer Pro. And then the first link which opens up is for Path Analyzer Pro. So we do want to install the tool, of course, right? So when you look into the tool, there you can see it's a Path Analyzer, and there's a free trial copy which we want to download actually at this stage, and there is some other information about the tool. And let's look at the custom rank feature synopsis. So it talks basically about the features also. And here you can see it basically runs an analysis or a trace on a particular domain, and it basically, in this case, they have done on Google, and we'll try to do with Google only, and see how it performs and so forth, right? And as you see here, it's custom ranking features there too, and I'll show you all these features within the tool set also. All right. So first things first. I'm actually running this on a VM, on a VirtualBox VM, and I have Windows 8.1. That is my environment which I'm running this lab on, or this operating system on. And then let me just download a trial copy of this tool. All right. So when I click on download, it takes me to this location where I can download a premium version, or that's a paid tool, of course. But we don't want to pay for it for now, and because I just want to show you the tool, and if you decide to pay for it, you can do it later on. But they do have an evaluation version which is feature rich, and you can download it. So since I have a Windows client, I'm going to download the Windows 2.7 version for Windows, and that is size is total to 7.8 megabytes. All right, so let's click download here. So here we go. It's download the MSI. I'm gonna run the MSI here. It says welcome to Pro 2.7 setup. I agree. Next. Asking permissions. Yes. Next. Let's go through the default setup. I'm not doing anything fancy, just going through the default setup here. All right. So Path Analyzer, so it should have made a shortcut. Well, in this case, it did not. So let me go in and pull it up from my Windows 8 search, and I can type in Path Analyzer. There you go, Path Analyzer Pro. I find it, I fire it up. Okay, so this is your Path Analyzer Pro. It tells you that I get a 10-day free trial, and it's a Premier, and I'll click on evaluate for now. I'm not registering. I just want to show you the tool, and later on maybe if you guys want to register for it, you guys can do that on your own time. All right. So now this is how the UI looks when you launch it the first time. All right. We have, since I already mentioned to you, it is part of, it basically analyzes your ICMP, which is on the right hand side here, ICMP protocol. and which is basically your layer 3 in the OSI model, right? And you should know your stack, you should know your OSI model, networking stack pretty good, because this tool is all around that. And if you know that, you'll be very comfortable by reading these standard options, advanced probe details, and also the advanced tracing details. If you want to do TCP, it does that, and that TCP is again layer 4 of your OSI model. So if you want to do that, you can do that here itself also. And I'll show you other options, like you can set up the length of the packet, which is pretty cool. The time to live, we talked about that also. Timber talks about that, and other instructors in our ethical hacking and in our other classes, like your ECSA and also security and analytics class, right? Then you can also set up initial sequence numbers. Let it be default for now, but if you want to be more crafty, and you can go in and change these values while you're trying to use the tool, right? Goal here is to understand the tool, to understand the basic features of the tool, and then advanced features. When you're familiar with the basics one, then you can start tweaking it, then you can start getting that advanced data, right? So since the data collection will take time, I'm going to actually start it, right? I'm going to go and http:// I'm going to google.com is what I'll run this tool to trace against. I'm going to do a one-time trace, and I've kept everything as default. I'm not changing anything. All right, so raw packet, okay. All right, so now it's running. So you start running the tool. There's one thing which you need to do before you fire this up, is you go to your Windows, click on this icon, search icon, and basically go Windows Firewall. So Windows Firewall, so you gotta turn the firewall off. So it says turn firewall on and off. You gotta turn it off for public network settings and for private network settings. This tool then will run more happily, and since it's my VM, I don't need any kind of protection. I know where it is running. I'm going to close this out, and yeah, so now we're good. So I'm going to go back to Analyzer Pro, and we're gonna actually start a trace here, and I think this is something else, so hold on guys. Alright guys, so I'm back. So what I did was, and I'm gonna do it all over again, I'm gonna start a new one here so you guys know what happened. I actually paused the video for a little bit. One step which I missed for Path Analyzer, I want to get that step to you guys. Alright, I'm gonna close everything out. Then this is for Windows users actually, so I'm not that used to on Windows, but since I'm showing it this on Windows, so you go on your programs, right? You go on your apps, then of course we are looking for Path Analyzer. You right click on it, and then you run it as administrator, and that is the key down here, and then just to say yes to it. Alright, so now you get the idea. Just click yes here, and now this, when the tool launches again, this will not give that error which it was giving you. That was the raw socket data packet error. So you gotta remember two things. One, you gotta go in and turn off your firewall. And the second thing for Windows who are running Windows 7, 8, 8.1 and 10 is that you got to run it under as an administrator, right? So now when you go in and do www.google.com and set enter, so now it's not giving that error. It's going in and it started its analysis, and it's doing what it has to do. That is basically go in and evaluate the targets, right? So look at that. So now it's got a good map of it started analyzing, and it's doing the trace, and it's basically getting all the information which is needed, and this is like a trace route, and it gets a little bit more information basically. So now let's look at the different tabs down here. Let's look at Synopsys. So Synopsys basically tells you information around the DNS, that the DNS address records were found, and these records are are something important. So of course the report tab gives you like good idea about all these different packets. It says no reply packet received by TTL13. So it gives you like all this information, right? And then in Synopsys it basically has, again, your A records are there. So these are the A records which are used in the DNS itself, right? And then there's a reverse DNS PRT record down here. Again, there is routing, has an IP address, and it also gives you a subnet mask that is 202-/24/ with the original autonomous system, right? And again, the registries and the intercepts, basically it's registered to Google.inc. We know we are looking at Google.com. And being an ethical hacker, being somebody who's practicing ethical practices as education purposes, you can definitely use these tools because you don't mean any harm, right? And you're just using it for a very small lifetime also. You're not trying to run it against any of the websites to cause any harm. So make sure that is your target and your goals are pretty much clear, right? Also, like intercept means like if somebody wants to reach out to you or reach out to this company, law enforcement will basically be passed the information that Google.inc is the owner, and they can go in and get to them, right? So there's some cool charts which come with it. I did Google.com. I did any of the website, won't give that much of information, but here you can see really different forms of charts which it gives you for analyzing, and you can go and look at these charts also, right? It also gives you geolocation. So I'm here situated in Redmond, and it gives me like where I am, where it kind of went, Illinois, Chicago, then Google headquarters, California, Mountain View. So that's the kind of the geo-courtesy prefix of who is information, right? And you can do state, province, you can check that up here, even roads for that matter, and it gives you pretty decent information about all of that information. All right, and then let's look at logs. So these are logs. This is the meat and potatoes where you can basically select all of this information. You can select all and then copy it basically and use it for any other kind of records which you need on any kind of reports which you want to run. So all that can be done right from here, right? So that is the goal. Also, when you talk about current trace logs and session logs, these have lots of information in there, right? So let's just look at it. What does it have? So let's start from the top. So current trace logs, it tells you about the Ethernet connection, then it tells you about the date specified, the time zones, then also about the ICMP packets received, the TTLY. So basically it's all the raw information log, the sequence, everything that you need to know about this particular trace, right? All that is prettily put into this window, and based on these logs only the synopsis, the charts, and the geo charts were made, right? So if you look at the charts, they are basically made around that synopsis also, right? And here you can charts was like where it basically tells you like what is going on. And let's go back to the logs. So session logs are also there, that basically about this particular session which we have. So it tells us information about again everything which is needed, ICMP and everything else, right? Pretty cool, I would say. Again, the last one tab up here is stats, and these stats are basically around your the IP, the local IP and the target IP, and it tells you the ICMP distance, average latency. Then it also tells you trace begin and trace end, filters if there are any, and here it's giving us more information, which is pretty cool, I would say, right? You can click on these sources, and and get more information around them also, right? And these are the session statistics again. You can these are pretty cool too. So using this tool, basically now you can see there's a lot of information that you can get out of the box, right? You don't need to do much when it comes down to do, right? So I would say, like, this tool has, your good strengths. This tool comes with, that is your analysis of your layer 3 and layer 4, that is the ICMP and UDP protocols, right? And other thing is, like, just play around, with this tool, like, change the settings, change the preferences if you need be. Even page setups, exports, it lets you do exports in multiple formats. You can do CSV right off the bat, actually, and then you can do start or starve. Also, export KMLs, it lets you do KMLs, and well, I don't want to do anything right now with that. Then you can check for updates. Another thing is preferences, something which you should know about. So here in preferences, you need to know about, all the different, it has some general settings to start with, right? So in general setting, you can do the time zone down here. I keep it to UTC. You can keep it to local. Then usually, like, I enable advanced probe detail options, enable advanced tracing details. So all these I keep to as it is, but, like, you can always change debug logging disabilities and all that stuff right from here, and then you can always restore to defaults, which is pretty handy, right? So here you can see, like, the default ports down here, the TCP source port and destination ports, and so you don't want to change these ports. If you want to make it look a little different, you can color code it. In Geo, it enables the geocoding information prefix whois, and you can also do CDIA. I just use basically the raw the basic settings. Data settings is again ASN network sources license. We have not registered it, so it is under a evaluation version, right? Okay. So if you look at this, you can see what it is, how it is working, and it kind of works pretty nice. Let's do another one on. Let's do this time on www.cybertraining365.com. Have I spelled it right? So now it's gone to work. So basically, a lot of these scans sometimes, like Google didn't take that long, but other depending upon what kind of server it's set up on, and you see it's still working down here. So it'll take its own sweet time to do something which I conducted or ran against the main one, right, or against Google. So you can of course start it whenever you want. I did not change any of the settings. Okay, here you go. So for Cyber Training 365, this is you did the scan. It kind of went through all the different network names which it touched, which is pretty cool, right? So, and then and it says no reply packets received after time to live 14. You may try changing settings, right? So we can actually change the settings down here, and we can change the time to live. We can, like, tweak it around a little bit, and see, like, so work overhead, milliseconds, all that can be changed, and you have it on your fingertips on the left hand side, right? So length of the packet smart, it's set to 64. You can always increase it or decrease it, sorry, and that's what I put it to smart length. That's always good. Minimal delay, let's do that. Time to live, let's make it out to 40 here, and then just try to give it another run, right? Nothing much should change, but this just gives you an idea of just getting a feel of if you're changing certain values around, and what their effects are going. maybe if you want to change the sequence or the number of hops, you can do that. And this kind of does a good analysis, right? So just to recap, number one, we downloaded Path Analyzer Pro. Step number two for Windows is you go in and stop your turn off actually your firewall, the local firewall. Step number three for Windows is that when the tool is downloaded and installed, when you want to run it, you always run it as an administrator. All right. So if you don't run it as an administrator, it will not run. It will give that error which it was giving to me earlier, right? And that was the the raw port error, which was basically your raw port data packets were not able to create or send raw port data packets, right? Raw socket, sorry. So it will give that error. So those are some of the things that you should know. And yeah, I mean, I just did Cyber Trading 365. It also, and before that I did another domain. So it's good to know, like, all the different information sets for the domain, the subnet mask information. Again, it works on the ICMP and TCP, the layer 3 and 4 of the OSI model. And here you can see the chart, which it basically does, and it lets you give like different kinds of charts, like around the result set which it's returned. And of course it has a pretty cool geo, and I couldn't get it to like zoom in, but it would be pretty cool if it zoomed into. But yeah, so this chart like is literally like really nice, and you can turn on off, you can like state province names and roads and all that stuff, in the map itself. I like it. Like country is much better. Like you don't need too much information because you want to literally concentrate upon what is here. We can actually also search for something which has got some foreign or like something a non-US based company. But for now, I'll just keep it. You guys can try and experiment with that, right? Again, logs. I went over logs, and I did tell you that this trace log, you can just basically right-click, select all, and copy it out. And this is where all your information is living, and then statistics about a particular trace that you ran. And these statistics, they tell you like basic ICMP 14 distance, average latencies, and so forth, right? Here there's an option one time traced or continuous trace. So if you do continuous trace and then just run trace on it, so here and you start looking at the report. So now it's cleared up the old report. So it'll keep on going and keep on running the trace until you go and initiate a stop on it. And that way, if you're collecting more data, if you're analyzing different modes, if you're trying to see how each change parameter is behaving, so you can get all that information also. And then also if you're running it like over a certain period of time and analyzing data that way, that is also pretty nifty and handy, right? So the result came back, if you just noticed, it didn't stop, right? It's still going on, and because I did continuous trace, right? So that is so I would recommend that you go and play. There's not much options when it comes down to packet analysis. This true tool has all the necessary ones when you are, which basically enable you to analyze and play with your stack. So that's the basically when you're experiencing some kind of slowness on your network at certain periods of the day. Path Analyzer basically enables you to find the root cause of the problem. That is, some scenario which I can think of right away. That if a lot of you will be doing, would be part of a networking team, some way or form, or the security team, and if you're ever tasked to check that why is this network so slow, you can basically use Path Analyzer, right? To see that that why the network is slow. Also, Path Analyzer enables you to find the issues which are going on in your network. And again, this tool can view your network. As I said, it can determine where you have traffic issues on the network or on the router, and also locate where those traffic issues originated from, for that matter. So that is basically the beauty of the tool. So it basically can give you all that information, and which is very powerful, I would say. So this chart will keep on building. All these bits and pieces of information will keep on getting added again and again, and basically that is what this tool is doing right now. It's doing a continuous trace. All right. So I will not. I'll not have you sit here and watch this going on and on. I would want you to play with it, download it, play with it. Always, again, I recommend that you download your tools on a VirtualBox VM or on any other preferred VM which you have, VMware or something. That way you are not installing all these tools which I'm getting you familiar with and teaching you how to use them on a single machine, because this tool library is going to be big, and with VirtualBox you have the capability of installing Linux and other operating systems side by side. All right, I hope you enjoyed the lab, and do send your feedback, and also feel free to visit our social media, that is our Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn, and leave your comments on each and every aspect that you're learning, and do engage with all the fellow students, as there is a lot of students who are learning together on about and becoming ethical hackers. All right, I'll see you in the next class. Thanks for joining again. Bye bye.